Welcome to Transformative Principal, where I help you stop putting out fires and start leading. I'm your host, Jethro Jones. You can follow me on Twitter at Jethro Jones. Welcome to Transformative Principal. I am your host, Jethro Jones, and I'm excited to have three awesome guests on the program today. We're going to talk with Kumar Withanage. I bet I got that wrong. No offense. I'll let you correct it when you come on. Julian Pope and Brent Zirkel. You may remember Brent Zirkel from his awesome teacher data dashboard, and he said, Jethro, we talked about that, and it was great, but we didn't even get to the thing that I'm really excited about, which is the education test kitchen educational foundation. So, Brent, why don't you start by telling us what the Test Kitchen Educational Foundation is?
Awesome. It's great to be on again, Jethro. I really appreciate it. The Test Kitchen Education Foundation is a nonprofit organization that was established in Fort Madison, Iowa, probably about 9 or 10 years ago. And the idea behind it was to marry the notion of good food with good education. And that came about through a relationship that was built with Kumar Withanage. His daughter was in one of my classes when she was in high school. And I had recently come back from a Learning in the Brain conference. And they had taught us all these amazing strategies about how to help kids encode information and retrieve it and all these brain-friendly activities. But at the end of it, they made a statement that, all the things that had been taught, none of those have an effect size as much as whether a student would eat at home in a family-style meal setting, or whether they learn the skill of delayed gratification. And so Kumar had come to me with this idea. Kumar is a renowned chef and has amazing culinary skills. And he was looking for a way that he could help students in our community and through his passion of food, but also marry that with his passion for education. And so we brought in the idea of, trying to provide a family style setting for students where they could learn life skills of cooking, as well as, academic skills that they could take with them to pursue their own dreams. And that's kind of where Julian comes in the story as well. Kumar has a great background and story for his life as well that brought him to Fort Madison. But the Test Kitchen Education Foundation in itself is a mission of marrying culinary arts and education to provide students with life skills for their future.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that introduction. Kumar, can you tell us a little bit about your perspective on education and why you wanted to start the Test Kitchen Education Foundation?
Yeah, thank you for having us. So, like Brent said, actually, my original, my homeland was Sri Lanka, very poor country. Only way to get out of the poverty is through education. So, with that, 1986, I came to the United States pursuing the American dream. And one of the first things I encountered is I didn't speak any English, but there was not even a place for me to learn English. Other than the school, actually, there's three places, the school and the churches. And there's actually one other place in town you can have a free education. That was the Iowa State Penitentiary, which is on this town. So I was like really shocked by it. But then also I grew up back home with the philosophy. We had three gods. So that was our supreme, because I'm a Buddhist, as a Buddha. And then the second God is your parents. And then the third person you worship is your teachers. So with those three backgrounds, I was shocked what I was experiencing here, but at the same time, so I took education portion very seriously when it comes to my daughter. So through that, I met Brent and we connected because through his passion for education. But then after that, with my background, my values, so I kept visiting Brent even after he did not have my daughter. I just go to parent teacher conference and sit on the line and just say hello to Brent. So then my daughter graduated from school. I still continue that relationship. Whenever I am in town, I go to a local bake shop. I buy a couple of muffins or something. Then I just go to the school, just to his classroom, and giving this cupcakes or a muffin or something, and then asking how he's doing. During that, then I really realized how much the help the school, not necessarily the help, but how much undervalued the education is. And then one day I told Brent, I said, I need to do something about it. And then I came up with this thing. I said, hey, what do? I want to start up an after school program. I said, my talent, as I was a known chef in town, I said, I can teach these kids cooking skills. And then I want to bring them to one location and give them the cooking skill. Then I want to bring the teachers in and to help these kids with the homework and school. And I put that idea out there, and Brent did not hesitate one bit. He was like, that's a great idea, Kumar. And then we went to work for it. And that's how the Test Kitchen Education Foundation was born in 2015.
And so the idea then is to put kids in real culinary positions and have them make the food and then eat the food together, right? And we have a student here who's been through this, Julian. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about your experience and how you got connected.
Thank you for having me. And I knew about the test kitchen for a long time when I was a freshman in high school. And at the time, I was very shy and reserved. I didn't really have much sense of a direction of what I was going to do with my career once I was out of school. And as an adult, I didn't have a direction or a path to follow. I was like, do I want to be a construction worker? Do I want to be an accountant? I always told myself, I'm never getting an office job being an accountant. That was my big boogeyman back then. But other than that, I had no ideas. But I ended up joining the high school robotics program just because I thought it looked cool. And I am not very gifted when it comes to engineering or abstract design or something like that. But I loved the program and the test kitchen. As it grew and expanded, it began to host the high school robotics program with certain tutoring events. So the whole robotics program, our members would go down to the test kitchen and we'd teach fourth or sixth graders about, how batteries worked or, how to build a stable structure with engineering principles, stuff like that. And I hardly knew much more than the kids who were teaching, but I loved it because I loved being a part of something and having a commitment to an organization, having something to do that was valuable with my time. And that's how I became involved with the Elliott Test Kitchen. And I think that involvement began to increase even further when the robotics program, we were hosting a fundraising event at the test kitchen. I think Kumar was catering for us. We had a nice big meal, a whole bunch of sponsors that I think that he had probably reached out to on our behalf. We gathered them all up at the test kitchen. He prepared them a real nice homemade meal. And then all of us members on the team, on the leadership team of the robotics team, we gave speeches about, what we were doing and why it's valuable to invest in this kind of stuff. And I took the stage and I gave a speech, and I don't think many people had really heard me speak so publicly and so loudly, I guess, before. And Kumar took notice of me and he started to, okay, so is there any potential here with this kid? Is there something, what's his story like? And that's how I got to know him. And I started volunteering at the test kitchen shortly after that. He offered me my first job there, washing dishes, and he provided me with a lot of additional opportunities after that.
So you were not part of the test kitchen in that you weren't learning culinary stuff. You were there part of the robotics program and then tutoring kids who were in the test kitchen. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Correct?
The test kitchen is primarily, it was founded as like a culinary institution, but cooking really, to me, was only ever just one part of what it came to do at its height. They had robotics classes, they had math classes, they had history classes, geography classes, if I remember right. Um, the primary draw was the food. Kids would come there, they would cook, they'd serve a big homemade meal out to the students there at the end of the day. But the other students in the program, they would first learn a lesson taught in the subject of the day. And it often didn't have to be culinary. And yeah, robotics was the thing which brought me in. And I think later on, I actually served as an English tutor at the test kitchen, I think a couple of years later.
If I may add a couple of things to that one. So how the Julian came about was, so this robotics team was meeting. That was one of the programs we supported. So we had, like Julian said, we had a math program, we have a cooking program, we have a Spanish program, then we had a robotics program. So let me, if I may, let me go back one more step further. So my original concept was, when I was talking to Brent, I was like, Brent, I want these kids to come to this place. I want teachers to come. I want teachers and the kids to intermingle. And then I want teachers to help this kid with their homework, which I'm accustomed to back in my homeland. And then once they get done with their homework, then they're going to help me cook a meal. And then we all going to sit around and eat as a family. Well, first week, guess what I found? There's no such a word called homework in this particular school district. Every single kid comes, they have no homework. They wanted to cook. So this became a huge issue. That's when I decided, wait a minute, I need to go. This kid has to learn something at this place if they do not have any homework. So that's when I started the maths day, science day, the geography day. And then during one of those days was a robotics team. We had the robotics teams coming to our test kitchen and teaching the kids about the robotics. But then what I noticed about Julian was, I kind of, there was always a bike parked in front of the test kitchen, kind of blocking the way. I'm like, who is fucking this bike? And that's when I realized this Julian, this kid, riding a bike to get here, and he did not want his bike to be stolen. And so that's when I took interest in him. And then that's when I said, okay, dude, you need to come and help me work here. So I got him I wanted to build his trust. So he came and I got him to cook at the test kitchen, washing dishes, doing little things. So pretty soon he became a big part of the test kitchen. He was teaching other kids. He was helping cooking. He was doing the dishes. But because he had a very, socioeconomic situation that he needed the test kitchen. So that's how Julian got started.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about the power of a mentor like you were for Julian? Someone who believes in a kid, who says, you can do this, you can provide value? Because it sounds like Julian didn't have many opportunities to do that. And so you, Kumar, saw him and said, I can help this kid. I see his potential. Tell me about that and the mentorship part of it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then, I asked Julian, I remember going back and Julian wasn't even talking to anyone. So I talked to one of his school teachers, hey, what's the story on this kid? And then they told me he's very quiet. And then I said, so I did some real research and I knew this is a kid worth saving because he was living with his grandpa and dad. So he had his certain situation. But one of the things I went into cooking is because I realizing it, because that's one of the jobs you have, instant gratification. You get to cook something, you need to present it, then that person going to eat it and you're going to get the test results immediately. And I think the kids love that portion of it too. So when as a kid comes in there, completely have all fail on so many avenues, then I can tell them in there, hey man, come and cook with me. And when I teach them and then when I get them to cook something, and then I also, when everyone's sit around the table to eat. When I get that kid to, I teach the kid what you cook. This is what you're going to go around and tell. This is how you prepare it. This is how it's made out of. And that kids take so much pride in that. And that just instantly give them the lot of boost. So that way, you buy in their, you can mentor them that way. You have buy in their trust already. I think I learned that from Anthony Bourdain. I know he's died. He had no reservation. One of the things he said was that he can go into a war-torn area, but he can come out live because when you share your story with or plate of food, and that just brings the temperature down on everything. And I think I noticed that with the teacher and the kids, because other thing when I had to work on the test kitchen is, so these teachers come in to help. And sometimes the kids come, the teachers come. Sometimes there's this kid who has given this teacher a hard time at the school is there. And I had to reprogram that teacher. No. We got to get a fresh start, because the teacher comes and tell me, that kid was really bad at the school. I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear it. One of the things I did was, it was a must, was when the kids come in there, they have to go to come to me, eye contact, and shake my hand and welcome. And then when they were leaving, they have to go to every worker and the teacher and shake their hand and say thank you before they leave. Had no idea. I didn't have that much of an idea what impact that's going to make. That made a huge impact in some of the teachers, because they're not used to that. The shaking kids' hand.
They've never seen the kids act that way with them.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Well, one of the things you said, Kumar, that I really appreciated was that you have instant feedback when you prepare a meal and serve it to someone, and you immediately know how they feel about it. And even if somebody doesn't like the food that you prepare, they still give feedback and they still appreciate it. And even if they're like, oh, I don't like broccoli and there's a bunch of broccoli in here, they can still have a positive experience with that meal. Even picky kids who are typically not going to eat anything, they can still have a positive experience. And so anything you want to add on that?
Well, absolutely. So after a while, the program is growing, then we came up with this acronym, ACT, and I thought those were the three most important to me. And then anytime when a new batch of kids come, then I had some other kid come and tell them, all right, explain what the ACT is. The A is appreciate the food. Because there are times some kids and goes, they eat something. Yeah, this is gross. Then we had to teach them, no, that is not how you say it. You're going to say, you know what, this is not my favorite. So we have kind of taught them manners section of it, but they have to appreciate what the kids are cooking. And then the C, this was a huge thing. Clean after yourself. I learned this one. Oh my gosh, the kids, have absolutely no concept of picking up something when they drop on the floor. Yeah. So I learned quickly. So I put that in there, clean after yourself. And the T is for thank everyone. So that's when they go around and let me tell you, that became the last one. Thank everyone became the huge success when it comes to fundraising. So the test kitchen day, I tried to invite some community members. And then also, when we invite the community member, bank president or somebody, hey, you need to come and have a dinner with our kids. Then also, actually, I forgot to mention, then later we got into there. I want to be a little bit of radical because I wanted some attention. I wanted some news station to come out there. I started doing the prayer at the test kitchen. I'm a Buddhist, so I can do it. So I went and had my Catholic friend and I said, teach me how to say the prayer at the dinner table. And I still remember, bless us, O Lord, this the gift which we are about to receive through the bound. So I learned that prayer. So then I got to have so I pick a kid saying, before the meal, I want you to do the dinner prayer. And it's funny, at the beginning, all the Catholic school, we had a huge, we had some So a good amount of kids came from Catholic school. So those kids are no problem. They just jump in there. But then what happened was something short of a miracle. So then the other kids who never go to church start joining in there because they say, I can do a prayer. So when they come in there, they start, their prayer is, I want to thank for the teachers. I want to thank for Kumar for preparing food. I want to thank for Sherry for washing dishes. So this prayer thing became about the appreciation. I thought that was so beautiful. So when I invite that bank president or someone, donor, and then all of a sudden they see this kid get up there and doing this prayer in their version of it, and then before they leave, they go and shake those donors' hand. That $100 check became $1,000. 1,000 became 5,000. So that was a huge success thing.
That's amazing. I appreciate you sharing that, especially that idea about the prayer that you're bringing a whole bunch of different people together, yourself included, from different religions and different perspectives, and still being able to have that commonality and allowing different people to say prayers in their own way, I think is really beautiful. Julian, could you talk a little bit about what the test kitchen has meant for you and what it's led to in your life?
Yeah, and I can begin this by going a little bit back to that mentor thing earlier. So say my parents, they're very good people, but they've been crippled to various degrees by various problems, medical or social issues. Both my parents are separated. Home life could be a very big mess some nights, and they were in no capacity to instruct me on the practical things of getting your life together as I was getting older, like how to get a bank account, how to get a car loan, what does interest mean. I didn't even have the phone for, I think, the first year or two of high school, which for me is Gen Z is almost unheard of even back then. And I didn't have internet at my house. When I got home, all I did was I went in the bedroom, sat in front of the TV and played video games because that's all I had to do. There was no one to really hold my feet over the fire, and I didn't know how to do it myself yet. That's a very unsatisfying way of life. I mean, I even knew it at that time. So that when the robotics program came around, I threw myself into that as much as I could. And then, of course, with the test kitchen. And then that's when Kumar took note of me, and then he started providing me with some of those opportunities. Like my first ever job was washing dishes at the test kitchen or mopping the floor or whatnot. And then he realized, hey, you don't have a phone. Well, how are you going to get an actual job with no phone? So he helped me get my own phone. He hooked me up with the head of a kitchen here at a local assisted living place. I got a real job as a waiter there, which paid pretty well. Eventually, as I continued to honor our agreements, I worked for him, and I for every shift. When I got the phone, I didn't break it. I always made sure I did a good job. We still escalated that level of trust. And at a point, he co-signed the loan for my first car so I could get to and from my job without walking or riding my bike. And I didn't have to ride my bike to the test kitchen anymore after that. Very nice, especially in winter. Oh, what else? Oh,
Driver's license.
yeah,
for
driver's
a
license,
second here.
computer. Oh, there's something else.
ACT.
ACT, yeah. When it comes to
Yeah.
my college career, I think the two biggest things that got me jump started with, being able to go to a university like University of Iowa, because my family's poor, really poor. No one ever had a dime to send me for my tuition. So if I was left on my own, the best I could have done on my own, with the federal Pell Grant or whatnot, might have been get to SCC, a local community college, which is nice. But for someone like with my aspirations, what I wanted to do, what I thought I could achieve, that wasn't enough. But he provided me with ACT prep classes through the test kitchen. I used those to study. When I took the ACT, I think I got a 32, I believe, either 31 or 32.
Good.
And then he got me access to a bunch of scholarship opportunities. And I remember he and I sat at the table in the back kitchen on my computer. I mean, I wrote essays there for all these dozens of different scholarships applications, and it just essay after essay, just sending them out to every single scholarship that he and I could find. And by the end of it, by the time I graduated from high school, I had won enough scholarships that I actually had, I think, a couple $1,000 surplus scholarship money to cover a year of tuition at the University of Iowa. And without that driving force that he provided for me, without those opportunities, I really don't think I ever would have ended up at the University of Iowa to begin with. I think it would have been possible for me. I don't know if I knew enough to make it there on my own.
Yeah. Boy, Julian, I love that story because you started out by saying, as I kept the agreements that I made with him and kept the commitments that you made with him, that is a really powerful mentorship agreement or relationship where you commit to do something and then you honor that commitment, and you respect your mentor enough that you're going to do that, and he respects you enough to ask high levels of responsibility from you. And I think that that's just a beautiful thing. And there's so much more about this that I definitely want to be able to talk about. And we're out of time for today, but the website where people can go learn about this is tkef.org, tkef.org, and do go check it out. This is something that I hope in a future conversation we can talk about how to bring this kind of thing all over the country so that there are these additional opportunities for kids to develop mentors in a safe place where they can learn about skill and figure something out, and then have the kind of opportunities that Julian has. So I want to thank you, Brent, Julian, and Kumar, for being here today. This has been a great conversation, and this is obviously just the beginning, and there's so much more to this that we didn't even get to, but this has been a great start. So thank you all for being here. This was great.
Our pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.